Thank you all for coming tonight. This is a great crowd. I actually gave this exact same talk, I think in October at the Clinton Presidential Library, and it was live streamed, and you could only see me, and it sounded like there were a lot of people there, but there were like 12 people there. And I think 8 of them worked there. So this is great. I just want to say before I forget, for the high school winners, the writers, and the teachers, I hope I don't get choked up when I say this, but the reason I am a writer is because I won an award when I was in high school. And it made me think, oh, maybe I'm a pretty good writer. And it gave me confidence, and I truly believe that confidence is the single most important attribute that a writer can have. You write with a stronger voice, you take more risks, you just write better when you're confident. So I hope you now have the confidence to write well and even better. And the English teachers, I'm still in touch with that English teacher. She's 85 years old now. I'm still in touch with her. She made a huge difference in my life. So please know that you're doing that as well. The last time I spoke here was 5 years ago. I was launching a book. And it's this book right here. It's called Francis and Eddie. It's a picture book that I actually self-published. It's about the 1913 United States Open golf tournament. And if anyone has seen a movie called The Greatest Game Ever Played, which is fantastic, it's a true story about a young man, 20-year-old man named Francis we met, and his 10-year-old caddy, who's the only person who would carry his bag for him. And they came out of nowhere, nobody had ever heard of them, and they, spoiler alert, they won the whole thing. And it's this fantastic story, and it was with a 10-year-old at the heart of the story, and I thought, why has this never been a picture book for kids? So I found my favorite illustrator, and we published it together, and I launched it, I decided to launch it in this room, because it seemed right to have a sort of municipal golf course as the setting for the launch. And the day before I launched it, I discovered that his caddy was named Eddie Lowry, a little 10-year-old boy, who wound up moving to California and becoming a millionaire. I found out the day before that I launched the book right here that Eddie Lowry is buried in the cemetery right here. I thought that was crazy. So who knows what karma is going on when you're a writer, or not. But I often have photos that accompany this talk, but I can do it without it. But there's a photo that I own that shows me when I was 9 years old. And I'm at my summer camp in northern Wisconsin. And I've just actually finished putting together a 176-page coffee table book about that summer camp because it's their 90th anniversary. It means a lot to me. But there's a picture of me holding a fishing rod. And the fishing rod is bent, and you know that there's a huge fish at the other end of the rod. Unfortunately, the picture is cut off, and you don't see the fish at all. And there's no pictures of the fish anywhere. But if you use your imagination, you can sort of think of all the possibilities at the other end of that line. And to me, that's the perfect visual metaphor for being a writer. You never know what you're going to catch. So that's essentially what I'm going to talk about today is creative possibilities. I'm a writer, which can mean a lot of different things, and I represent a lot of them. I began my career as a sports writer for a little newspaper in upstate New York. And I've been a freelance writer for about 25 years now, meaning that I work at home here in Pacific Grove and I pitch ideas and to magazine editors and publishers, and as you all have, many of you I'm sure have done as well, and sometimes they say yes, often they say no, and then I go and write it. But I've written for sports magazine articles for Sports Illustrated and Reader's Digest and Writer's Digest and travel magazines and the magazine you read on the airplane and all those things. And then I'm also the author. I've tried dabbling in all kinds of writing, poems and short stories and screenplays and blogs, and I'm also the author of about almost 40 books now, fiction, nonfiction, for kids, for adults, you name it. So as a writer, I'm often asked about the writing process. Where do you write, when do you write, how do you write, which are all valid questions. But that ignores half the battle when you're trying to craft a literary masterpiece, and that is simply, what the heck are you going to write about? Good writing begins with a great idea. An idea so compelling that an editor or a publisher can't pass it up. Something so intriguing that a reader can't pass it by. If someone is reading a magazine that I have an article in there, they're not stopping on my article because of the writing, they're stopping because of the idea. That's what catches them first. So it's my job to catch those ideas wherever they come from and turn them into something delicious. So I thought I'd take you on a little fishing expedition regarding my creative process over the years, which might offer some insight into the possibilities out there. And I realized that I'm kind of preaching to the choir here because I'm talking to a bunch of writers and you're all brimming with ideas. But sometimes I think it's helpful to recharge that notion that you have an imagination of endless possibilities and anything can turn into an idea. So I hope it's a little helpful. I usually start by asking if anyone has seen the movie Castaway starring Tom Hanks. Oh yeah? Okay. I love that movie. My wife despises that movie. But I actually love that movie. It's Tom Hanks plays he works for FedEx. And he's on an airplane delivering packages, and it crashes into the ocean, and he washes up on a deserted island. And he's trying to survive on that island. And eventually, FedEx boxes start washing ashore, and he starts opening them to see if they contain anything useful. And most of them don't. But in one of them, he finds they show him finding a dress that's sort of made out of leather and a kind of mesh material at the bottom. And as a viewer, you're thinking, well, that's useless. But in the very next scene, they show that he's taken that mesh material and he's created a fishing net out of it. And he can catch fish and eat for the first time on the island. So basically what he did is he took the mundane and he turned it into the miraculous. And I think that's what writers try to do. Not everything is mundane, but in my everyday life, my mundane existence, that's what I try to do. Anything can be fodder for a clever and creative idea. You just have to sort of tilt your head at the world a little bit. And often that simply means that I wonder out loud. I wonder about everything. In fact, I often compare being a writer to being a stand-up comedian. Because that's what they do. They look at things that we don't think about necessarily, and they find something funny and interesting to talk about regarding that. I think that's what I do as a writer. I just question everything. Writers are often told, and I'm sure you've all heard this, that you should write what you know. And that makes a lot of sense because that confidence factor is there. If you know the subject matter or you're more familiar with it, you're going to be more comfortable writing it. But I like to write what I don't know. I like to write about what I would like to learn about. And often this consists of wondering out loud, questioning things that I come across in my everyday existence. I was once tying my shoe, which we've all done thousands of times, and I suddenly wondered, who designed the Nike swoosh? I wondered, where did that come from? It's this iconic global logo. Who designed it? So I found the woman who did. She was a graphic designer, design student in Oregon in 1971, and Phil Knight, who was the fledgling CEO of the fledgling Nike company, then asked her to come up with something, and she did. And she was paid $35 for that. She later got stock options. She's fine. So I talked to her, and I found out all about her. And about the same time, I was in the grocery store here in Pacific Grove, and I had two young boys, and I spent a lot of time in the baby food aisle. And I was looking at the Gerber baby jars, and I wondered, who is the Gerber baby? Somebody posed for that drawing that's been on the jars since 1928. Who posed for those drawings? And I found her. There have been rumors over the years that it was Katharine Hepburn or Bob Dole or all these weird rumors. It turned out it's a woman named Ann Turner Cook, who I believe is still alive. She's a self-published mystery writer in Florida. And if you look at a picture of her next to the Gerber baby, you're thinking, oh my God, that is the Gerber baby. So what I did is I took those two ideas and I combined them. And I wrote a magazine article about the origins of our iconic advertising images over the years. The NBC Peacock or the Michelin Man or the Nike swoosh or the Gerber baby. And that was a magazine article. So it started with me tying my shoe and wandering the grocery aisles, and it became fodder for this whole article.